Warning: the following content contains a lot of spoilers. If you don't want to get spoiled, feel free to click off this video and watch a different video of mine. You're free to come back here after you completed the anime. Viewers' discretion is advised. I'm surprised I got this anime so late after I started my wheel. This anime was on the wheel from review number 14, and now I have eventually watched it. I don't regret watching this anime. I'm glad I have. Let's get right to the introduction. Mirai Nikki, also known as Future Diary, is based on a manga series written by Sakae Esuno. It lasted over 12 volumes and 59 chapters from 2006 to 2010, while the anime series was released in 2011 to 2013 and lasted over 26 episodes and an OVA. It was animated by Asred, an animation studio that also animated every season of Arifureta. Alright, let's get right to the plot. We start the anime with a 14-year-old middle school student named Yuki, and Yuki is lonely. All he does is go on his cell phone texting, even during class, playing darts, and talking to his imaginary friend named Deus. But one day, Yuki's cell phone starts to change. It can predict the future of what is going to happen next. So he goes and talks to his imaginary friend Deus about all of this. Turns out Deus isn't an imaginary friend. He's a god who can control the world. Deus tells Yuki that his phone is now called a diary, or a diary that can predict the future. But there's a catch. If Yuki's diary is destroyed, this will kill Yuki. Either way, Yuki starts using the diary for the future. However, when he saw his diary say dead end, a female student in class approached him. The female student is a girl named Yuno, and Yuno knows that Yuki's diary says dead end. So in fear, Yuki runs away from Yuno, where he ends up at a construction site's elevator. Before he could escape, Yuno showed up and immediately kissed Yuki's lips. Turns out Yuno was trying to tell Yuki that she's no harm. Oh yeah, Yuno reveals that she's in control of the second diary. But even though she's a diary owner, she's not the one who is targeting Yuki. It's the third diary owner out to kill Yuki. And the third diary owner is Yuki and Yuno's homeroom teacher. And he's also a serial killer. So once Yuki and Yuno go on the rooftop, Yuki throws a dart at his homeroom teacher's diary and he vanishes from existence. Later on, Deus has a meeting with all the remaining diary users. Yes, there are more than 3 diary users. There are 12 diary users in total. Or you can say 11 now since you know what happened. Turns out they are all in a survival game, and whoever is the last one standing will become God just like Deus. One by one, we see every diary owner. We first see the 9th diary owner named Minane, and not only she's a diary owner, but she's also a terrorist. Minane is in Yuki and Yuno's school, where she takes everyone in the school hostage so she can kill Yuki herself. So she plants bombs everywhere around the school, where slowly but surely the bombs go off, where the school building gets destroyed, and this causes a lot of casualties. Which yeah, the worst part about it is that it's in a middle school, so the place is full of kids/teenagers. But then, the 4th diary owner shows up, who is the chief inspector, part of the police department, named Kurusu. Turns out Kurusu is Minane's main target, but Kurusu doesn't care about the survival game. So when Yuno, Kurusu, and the surviving students distract Minane, Yuki throws his dart at Minane's diary. Luckily for her, her diary avoids it, but the dart ends up hitting her left eye, so she ends up fleeing the scene. After all that, Kurusu teams up with Yuki and Yuno to stop the other diary owners. So Kurusu gives Yuki and Yuno a mission where they send them to an amusement park as bait for Minane. This turns out to be a date instead, and honestly, it's a pretty cute date, I cannot lie. Later on in the night after the date, Yuno invites Yuki to her home. While inside, Yuki needed to go to the bathroom, so he searched for the bathroom. Instead of finding the bathroom, he goes inside a room that has 3 decomposed bodies. So Yuki leaves Yuno's house and goes back home. Meanwhile, Minane is out hiding from the police. While she's hiding, she is approached by a mysterious man who offers her help. Turns out this was a trap. The mysterious man turned out to be another diary owner. Zoe ends up drugging and torturing her to get information on the other diary users. The next day, Yuki, Yuno, and Kurusu visit a cult owned by the sixth diary owner named Tsubaki. In this cult, every member involved is being controlled by Tsubaki, or you can say she's the figurehead of the cult after her parents died from a car accident. This eventually destroyed her, and to make it worse, the second in command of the cult made Tsubaki's followers violate her in the worst way possible for over 2 years. But now, Yuki, Yuno, and Tsubaki flee from the controlling members, where the same diary owner who tortured Minane shows up, and he's the 12th diary owner. But he doesn't do crap since he was instantly killed by Yuno. After he was killed, Tsubaki reveals her main goal was to kill both Yuki and Yuno. So Yuno then chops Tsubaki's hand off before passing out from exhaustion. Tsubaki then captures Yuno, where she attempts to make her followers violate and kill her. But before they can, Yuki shows up and throws a dart at Tsubaki's diary, where she vanishes. Meanwhile, Minane actually escapes, where she's now out and working with Kurusu. That's messed up to hear that a chief inspector is working with a literal fugitive, but whatever I guess. But hold up, at least the next thing I would say is something cute and funny. Yuki's mom returns home from working, and because of Yuno's diary, she breaks into Yuki's house where she prepares dinner for everyone. Yuki tried to hide Yuno from his mom due to embarrassment, but he eventually failed after Yuno showed herself in front of Yuki's mom. Yuki then of course starts acting like he wants to die for a while, but this eventually dies when Yuki's mom brings in a young boy named Reisuke to the house due to his parents getting killed by the same cult Tsubaki took control of, but he turns out he's the 5th diary owner due to how he attempts to kill Yuno many times. I don't want to get into detail about everything since it hurts to talk or explain anything about Zhao murder. But Reisuke ends up vanishing after Yuno stabbed him in the chest, and both Yuki and Yuno collapse on the ground due to gas inhalation. But thankfully and surprisingly, Minane shows up to save both of them by injecting the antidotes into them. And lucky for everyone involved in Keisuke's disappearance situation, no one is a suspect, and nobody knows he's gone from existence. Now, Yuki and Yuno are transferred to a new school, and they get new friends. One of them is someone Yuki and Yuno already know, named Kosaka, and the other two are new students named Hinata and Mao. After school, the group goes to a crime scene because an unknown serial killer has been around the area. Once Hinata went out by herself, she would get attacked by dogs. The rest of the group would eventually find her body, and that's where another person shows up, Akise. So Akise and the group go inside a nearby building to protect themselves from the dogs. After the dogs gave up, Mao suddenly grabbed her knife and held Yuki as her hostage, where she grabbed his diary and handed it to Hinata, which she's still alive due to her being a diary user. Her main target all along is Akise due to how she suspects him of being a diary user. Hinata basically controls dogs due to her father, who is the 10th diary owner, so Hinata is not the official one since she's just borrowing it from her dad. But Akise isn't a diary user at all, so both Hinata and Akise play a game where they have to guess which hand has the coin inside, which Akise wins every round, so Yuki can get his diary back. While that's happening, Mao tries to destroy Yuki's diary, but Yuno ended up stabbing her, causing everyone but her and Hinata to leave. After they left the park, Hinata sent her dogs to attack them, so they returned to where Hinata was, where Yuno tried to murder her, but Yuki stopped her after he introduced Yuno as his girlfriend, which that calms everyone down. Meanwhile, Hinata's dad announces that he mistakenly accused Akise of being a diary owner and to look out for Kurusu. Once he announces that, Kurusu comes out of nowhere and kills him. Now, we're back to Minane where she creates bombs for Kurusu. While making them, she remembers the time she was captured by a detective working for Kurusu named Nishijima. This was when the third diary owner, or Yuki and Yuno's homeroom teacher, was still at large. What really happened is that they were pretty close until Minane knocked out Nishijima and fled the scene. Back to the present, Akise sets up Yuki and Yuno on a date to a bridal date due to how Akise is in Yuno's house investigating. When Yuki and Yuno return, they find Akise inside the house. Akise then shows the room where Yuki saw the bodies. Once inside, the wall in the room is destroyed, and the corpses were found buried in a huge hole. However, both Yuki and Yuno said they know nothing. Meanwhile, Kurusu frames everyone working for him that Yuki and Yuno are responsible for Hinata's dad's death, even though we know damn well Kurusu is the one behind his death. Before I get into that, remember when I said Minane is working with Kurusu? 6 days ago, Kurusu promised that he would stop pursuing her and take care of his son who has a terminal illness if he's eliminated from the game. So Minane agrees. In the present, Nishijima and his workers arrest Yuki and Yuno for suspicion of Hinata's dad's death. Once Kurusu goes and questions Yuki, Kurusu plays Russian roulette with Yuki. Before he could shoot and kill Yuki, Yuno got alerted by her diary and went to the room where Yuki was in to save him. Yuno shoots Kurusu, and Yuki shoots another detective to make their escape to the police station's roof. Once they are there, they jump off the building and land on the truck's tarp, where they would get away. But luckily for Kurusu, he ends up surviving. He was only shot in the ear and was wearing a bulletproof vest. And the detective Yuki shot ends up surviving. The next day, both Yuki and Yuno are hiding from the police, and they see Kurusu's wife visiting the hospital. Once they follow her, Minane comes out of nowhere and starts destroying the hospital's floor. But Minane starts becoming allies with Yuki and Yuno once Yuki accidentally caused the hospital floor to collapse. So they all head to the hospital room where Kurusu's wife and son are. The police then surround the hospital to the point that Minane takes Kurusu's wife and son hostage. Minane tries to negotiate with Kurusu about all of this, but this selfish motherfucker refused to listen and would rather go and win the game himself. Once Yuki gets captured by the police, Yuno comes out of nowhere with a stun grenade once Kurusu tries to take Yuki. Yuno lights up the stun grenade, which eventually knocks all three of them unconscious. A time bomb also goes off at the same time the stun grenade went off. Meanwhile, Minane tries to escape the hospital, but she runs into Nishijima again. But instead of going against each other, they decide to run back inside the hospital. Yuki then wakes up to shoot at Kurusu, but Kurusu is using Yuno as a shield, so he takes the risk and shoots, which hits Kurusu. Minane and Nishijima then arrive to place Kurusu under arrest, but since he's a coward, he asks Minane to take care of his son and apologizes to Yuki before breaking his diary and removing himself from existence. By the end of that, Yuki and Yuno are found innocent and Minane escapes again. A few days later, both Yuki and Yuno go on the trip together. But Akise sends Yuki a message warning Yuki not to get close to Yuno, but Yuno deletes the message before Yuki can even read it. Dear God, this is a topic that is really creepy to discuss here. So during the trip, Yuno gives Yuki a drink from a vending machine, but little does Yuki know, Yuno spikes the drink with a drug to make him sleep. Due to how Akise sent Yuki a message, he, Hinata, Mao, and Kosaka became worried about his safety, so they call Nishijima to track both Yuki and Yuno, and they end up in a place with abandoned hotels. Each one of them splits up to find the right hotel, and they eventually do when Kosaka enters a vent to where he sees Yuki and Hinata tied up, with Yuki being in a terrible position and Hinata just being a recent capture. Kosaka also sees Yuno in just a lingerie. What? But Yuki eventually recovers once Kosaka enters the place. But you may be wondering, why is Yuno doing this to begin with? She claims this is how she's going to keep Yuki safe until July 28, aka her special day where they will be together forever. Haven't mentioned this, but Yuno is a yandere. Since Yuki became conscious again, Hinata frees Yuki with the key where he would eventually scold Yuno for all of this and leave the scene. Now they are showing us the 8th diary owner, who is a woman who works at an orphanage named Kamato. But I will get back to her later since we're currently at a cell phone tower where everyone tries to get a connection to the 8 diary owners server, but they end up getting attacked. Guess who shows up to protect Yuki? Yuno does. And because they live in a fucked up world, Yuki and Yuno get back together even after Yuki was tortured by Yuno. That was when the 7 diary owners show up, both of them named I and Marco, which means it's a duo, not a solo. Yuki and Yuno fight both I and Marco, but Yuki and Yuno end up getting injured and having their diaries taken away. They both get sent to the hospital for treatment. In the hospital, Yuki's divorced dad shows up, and Yuki spends time with him in the hospital. After Yuki has recovered, he, Yuno, and his dad go to an abandoned commercial tower where Yuki and Yuno will continue their fight against I and Marco. By the end of that, Yuki's selfish dad leaves by stealing a parachute, leaving Yuki and Yuno behind. Yuki and Yuno do eventually defeat I and Marco and get their diaries back, so I and Marco both die after the tower collapsed on them, and Yuki and Yuno use the second parachute to escape. After they escape, Yuki is informed that his mom ended up dying due to his dad killing her. Flashback time. 1 year ago, Yuki wasn't in love with Yuno at first. It was another classmate of his named Moe. He would hang out with her to the point that he gave her a love letter. But, for unknown reasons, this is the last time we see Moe, since she doesn't show up again. Another thing to mention is that Yuno murdered her adopted abusive parents, which explains why Yuki saw those bodies in that one room he entered. Back to the present, Yuki wanted his dad to turn himself in to the police for his mother's death. Before he can turn himself in, he hangs out with Yuki one last time, and then goes to turn himself in. However, out of nowhere, random men stabs Yuki's dad, killing him instantly. Turns out these are agents working for the 11th diary user, Mayor Box. So Yuki manages to kill them to the point that Yuno shows up. After the fight, they both concluded that Yuki could kill Yuno anytime, but Yuki doesn't want to at the moment. Days go by, and now the end is near. The last diary owners are now identified. Yuki and Yuno would befriend Kamado and her apprentice to ambush Box. Once they do, Yuki and Yuno would betray Kamado and kill their apprentice, which causes Kamado to escape in Box's car. Yuki and Yuno would catch up to them, but once they do, Minane and Akise show up to reveal something surprising. Remember there were 3 bodies in that one room Yuki went inside? The 3rd body was identified as the real Yuno after they found a piece of her body in the orphanage Kamado works in, whose DNA matches the 3rd body found in the room. Turns out that the Yuno we have seen this entire anime isn't actually Yuno. She's an imposter. But for whatever reason, Yuki doesn't listen to Akise and ignores him. Now, we're inside the building Box is in, and many characters start dying. Nishijima ends up dying after he gets shot multiple times to save Minane. Minane ends up exploding herself to open the vault Box is in, but it doesn't work. Then finally, Yuno somehow opens the vault, where she eventually kills Box. Later on, Akise talks to Deus if Yuki can do anything if he's the successor, but Deus responds that Akise is someone Deus himself created. Later on, more characters start to die. Yuki, who claims he can resurrect everyone once he becomes God, grabs a gun, and he starts killing everyone he knows one by one. He goes on and kills Hinata, Mao, and Kosaka by shooting them. While in the middle of attempting to kill Akise, Yuno shows up, where Akise kisses Yuki, which of course triggers Yuno that she slits Akise's throat. Yuno will go on and kill Kamado, and a dying Akise writes a message on his phone to show to Yuki, where he eventually dies when Yuno chops off his head. After all that, both Yuki and Yuno eventually do the deed together. Not exactly the best romantic time to do that, but whatever I guess. After that, Yuki asks Yuno why she lied to him, but she just says she wants him to kill her. Yuki refuses to do that and says he wants to die together. He even mentions the message Akise gave to him. The message was that the world they are in is the second world and that the Yuno he's with is from the first world. I have mentioned this, but I will add more details. Yuno from the first world won the first game and became a goddess, but after becoming a goddess, she doesn't stay in the world Deus is in. she goes into the second world, aka the world we're in, where she would eventually kill second world Yuno and act like she's the real Yuno when she isn't. Yuki then finally finds out this is all true. If only if he had listened to Akise from the time he was ambushing Box, this would have all changed. Later on, Yuki and Yuno see each other until Yuki gets pushed off the cliff. But luckily for him, Minane, who is somehow alive, saves Yuki from dying, and Minane can fly now. Yuno would later go into the third world to attempt to kill third world Yuno, so she can replace herself. But after a while, Yuki goes and confronts Yuno not to do it, and they start hugging each other. While they are hugging, Yuno grabs a knife and stabs herself. Yuki and Yuno give each other one final kiss before Yuno dies and Yuki eventually wins the game. In the end, the third world is revealed to have all the diary users alive and having a great life, and the third world Yuno not knowing Yuki or anything, which means the anime ends with the second world Yuki being God for over 10,000 years and would get informed that Yuno is still alive. What a way to end off a crazy anime like that. Let's move on to the animation. Wait, hold up. That's not actually the end of the anime. We still have Redial to cover up the real and final ending to this anime. So let's go over Redial. We're back into the situation where second world Yuki and Yuno are hugging each other until Yuno dies and Yuki wins the game. After that, third world Yuno appears to be fine and well. 2 years later, Yuno gets an uncomfortable feeling of seeing Yuki in her head, but once again, she doesn't know him or anything. She just sees him. So once she goes back home, she teleports into the world where Deus is in, claiming she's meeting up with someone. After struggling, she finds a gem that has First World Yuno's memories, so she grabs the gem where she claims all the memories she had with Yuki. In the end, Yuno becomes the goddess of the third world, which means the anime ends with Yuno creating a pathway to the second world where she will reunite with second world Yuki, and they promise to be together forever. This is the better ending to this anime, and I'm glad this was the true ending. Oh yeah, as far as we know, Yuno is no longer a yandere at the end of the anime. Maybe she still is after she collected First World Yuno's memories, but we don't see yandere actions from her anymore. Let's move on to the animation, for real this time. The animation is pretty casual, so it's normal to me, and I don't have any complaints. But I will say that it's pretty bloody and gruesome due to the amount of gore that was put into the anime. Let's move on to the opening and ending themes. The first opening is pretty crazy to hear due to how the song lyrics are in English, Latin, Japanese, and German all at the same time. This opening is performed by Yosei Teikoku. The second opening is really good, and it's in English, which you don't hear often. This opening is performed by Phelan. The first ending theme is great, and I love the English message that sounds like a pilot at the beginning. This ending is also performed by Phelan. The second ending theme is pretty emotional, and it fits into how the anime ends. This ending is also performed by Yosei Teikoku. The opening for Redial is alright. I don't really have much to say about this opening. This opening is also performed by Yosei Teikoku. The ending for Redial is beautiful and a perfect way to end the anime. This ending is also performed by Phelan. Let's move on to the voice acting. The voice acting is pretty good. I enjoyed every character's voice, and there were even cute moments in how Yuno and Yuki's relationship was. So yeah, solid voice acting. Let's move on to the pacing. The pacing was pretty fast for me. The fact that this anime had episodes that ended with the plot taking a huge turn made me continue watching it and not take a little break from it. Anime like that are the reasons why the pacing is pretty good. Only if it's slow on purpose, that's how bad the pacing can be. Time for my final review. Time for my final review on Future Diary. I'm placing Future Diary on Feel Free to Watch It, in between Roshi Dede and Shibuya of a Failed Knight. Great anime, but not great enough for me to rank higher. Time for my next anime. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please be something short. I don't want another long anime. I'm not happy. I'm not happy that this is my next anime. I am not looking forward to this anime because I heard it's pretty bad. And if it's pretty bad, I'll probably have a disappointed mood. But, oh well, this is my next anime. Like it or not, this is gonna be my next anime, and I cannot do anything about it. Time for my outro. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And please follow my socials in the description down below. And since you know what my next anime is going to be, stay tuned for that. Until then, this is Enjeru signing off.